Hi everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Today we're going to do a little review on these guys. It's the new Broadway Limited, as you can hear, cattle cars, stock cars. They have hog sounds, mule sounds, and cattle sounds, and I'm not sure if there's anything else. I don't know if they have sheep or not, but we didn't get any of those. But nevertheless, I think you can hear the cows in the background. So let's get into this, and I'll show you what we have here. Okay, here's a quick look at the car itself. I think the lettering and everything is kind of crisp. The one thing I will say is that the ladders and the roof walk and stuff seem to be a little on the heavy side to me. However, and I know it's been complained about a lot on the web already, that the car is not see-through. There's no air gap between all the slats on the side, which there normally is on, say, a microtrains car and so forth. However, that being said, when you put it on the track with a bunch of other stock cars that don't have any sound in them, it's very hard to tell the difference without physically getting down and really looking. But anyway, all in all, I think it's a decent car. It does have some brake hoses hanging down. You know, it's got some pretty good detail on it. I just think that the detail, all of it, is a little bit on the heavy side. But nevertheless, this is the Santa Fe version, and I'll show you what's inside the box besides this. Okay, inside the package, what we have is a little desiccant pack, which we don't need, but it keeps the car dry in shipment and stuff. We have a one sheet, which I think is nice, a one small sheet instruction sheet. The car does not have any batteries in it that I know of. I didn't open one up, but it looks like it's all off track power. The other thing that's in there is an activation magnet, which allows you to increase and decrease volume and increase and decrease the sensitivity at which the car makes the mooing sound while being moved. Basically, if I look at the instructions here, right side up instead of upside down, the volume control is on one end, and it has off through 6 maximum for volume, and then sensitivity control is controlled on the other end of the car with the magnet, and it is 1 through 8, and 8 being the most sensitive. So you can set it to only go off once in a while, or you can set it to be more sensitive and go off more frequently. As you can hear the cars, they're all sitting, the 2 that I have 2 on this train right now, and the 2 that I have are in a train mixed with some other cars, and I'll show you in a minute, but they're just sitting on the track, and occasionally you hear the cows mooing and moving around in the car, and they're set currently, I believe, on the most sensitive setting, but we'll go through that in a minute. Anyway, let's take a look at them. Okay, guys, here's a close look at one from the side, and it is sitting on the track, and while I don't think this one is set at the same sensitivity setting, I've been goofing with them, and I'm not sure where it is right now, but it's not important, but I'll show you how to set that later. But one of them goes off occasionally while it's sitting on the powered rail here on DCC. I can sit here, and right now I'm turning the power up and down to the locomotive I had selected and attached to this train, and they don't seem to do anything with a fluctuation in the power. Of course, that would kind of make sense because the power is the same all the time to the track, and they're not responding to any kind of decoder or anything. However, if I reach up here with my finger a few cars back and I slightly move the train, then it stops. If I move the train again, and I think that time when I moved it, you could hear the car at the other end of the train making a moo sound, and this one making the sound of the cattle walking around in the car, and a small mooing sound. It's a random sound generator. It only it doesn't normally repeat the exact same sounds very often. I don't know how many different sounds are in there, but it's pretty convincing sounding. I do know that the 2 right now are on the highest volume, just for your benefit to see So maybe you can hear this and see what they sound like. I have run these cars around the layout a little bit, and I will tell you that I think the sound is real good, at a real good level, at about 4 instead of 6 being the max, but or maybe even a little less than that, because what I prefer is just a telltale sound coming from the cars, so that you get the impression that you're actually 100 yards away when you're looking at the train, which in scale you probably are. Anyway, let me back up the camera a little bit, and I'll pull them forward and backwards and let you listen to it a little bit if we can hear it in here. Okay, gang, before I get a nastygram, I know it's a BNSF locomotive and it shouldn't be hauling stock cars. It just happens to be one that I had out here already. Let me see if I can get it to operate. Okay guys, I hope you were able to hear that. In fact, I can still hear it here in the background. Maybe you can too. When the train's moving, and like I say, it's set on most sensitive, so I'm getting a lot of mooing and a lot of cows making noise, a lot of unhappy cows. You can set that way down and only have it do it occasionally. It's your choice. I prefer, if I'm going to have a couple of sound cars in a train like that, and by the way, that is 2 sound cars mixed in with about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 other brand cars. There's Intermountain cars and Microtrains cars there. But as you can see in the train, it's not they're not deterrent from the other cars either, despite what guys don't like about them being the open sides. But that being said, I think if you could hear that on this, which I don't know until I take the camera in, I think you would be happy with the sound. I think you'd be happy with the adjustability and the fact that they're extremely low maintenance. There's nothing to do. Just put them on the track, whether it be DCC or DC, and run them and listen to the cows mooing. I have a couple other cars here, one with hogs and one with mules, and I'll give you a little listen to that as well. Okay guys, you might hear the cows in the background, but let's take a listen to the hogs. The sensitivity on this one is obviously set real low. Okay guys, we have the Mule Car here, but I was going to tell you that on the end of the car with the brake wheel is the end with the sensitivity adjustment, and the opposite end is the end with the volume adjustment. And I hope you can hear this. I'm going to go and try and change the volume here. This is the volume end. And it just told me volume off, so my volume setting was apparently at 6, and when I hit it the next time it tells you volume off. I don't know if you could hear that. Now every time I touch the magnet, once I've found that location on the car, which it seems to vary a little bit from car to car, so you have to kind of search for it. But if I touch it again, the volume will go up and up and up until I reach, and you have to count when you're doing it. That's the first volume setting, second, third, fourth, and the loudest volume, and I think you could probably hear that one. If I do it one more time, it would say volume off. You can barely hear it, but it says volume off. Okay, the other end is the sensitivity, and it just tells you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see if I can get that.
4.
Maybe you could hear that was 4,
5.
5,
6.
6,
7.
7, 8. So that and they're talking to me already. But if I move the car very slightly now, it'll make sound. Quite noisy mules. Like I say, now you can see that I can just move the car just a tiny bit and I get sound out of it. When you adjust it down, it can roll 5 or 10 feet and not make any noise, and all of a sudden it'll make noise. So the sensitivity adjustment here is 9, and the least would, 8 rather, and the least would be 1. In fact, this one's making sound while it's even standing still, just like my cattle car is. So that's how you adjust the volume up and down, the sensitivity up and down on this car. And that's really all the settings there are. So just remember, it's in the instructions, of course, but the brake wheel end is sensitivity and the volume end is the end without the brake wheel. Okay, guys, that's pretty much a wrap on this. I hope the sound of these things comes out. I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to hear them in the background back here. I'm sure the sound doesn't reproduce very well through the camera. However, it sounds pretty darn good in person. The only thing that I would have to say is the detail's a little heavy, and I think that it would have been really cool if they would have had the sound gradually come on and gradually go off instead of abruptly on and abruptly stop. But I realize, you can't have everything, and but I think it's going to be a really cool thing at fair time to take these two cars out and put them in a stock car train, and just watch people's reaction as they're going by. It's a pretty neat deal, and I think it's worth the money if it's something you're interested in doing. For those of you guys into sound, I don't see how you can bypass these cars. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video and this little review of the Broadway Limited sound cars, sound stock cars. And from the mules and the cows and myself, we'll see you next time.